Hey friend, please subscribe. 1 second for you. Big deal for me.
The house was too quiet. Not peaceful quiet. Eerie quiet. No clatter of dishes, no giggling grandkids, no muffled arguments over coffee. Just stillness, like the house itself was holding its breath. My name's Ray. I'm 42 years old, live in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and Christmas is kind of my Super Bowl. I'm usually up by 7, coffee brewing, Bluetooth speaker blasting Elvis holiday hits. But this year, I rolled out of bed close to 9, confused and groggy, half expecting to hear my niece Hannah whining about her missing slippers, or Uncle Doug asking where the orange juice was. Instead, silence. I walked into the kitchen, expecting to see Mom scrambling eggs or Dad buttering too much toast. Instead, the sink was full of dirty dishes, pancake batter hardened on the sides, syrup dried into little brown rivers on the plates. Someone had eaten. Everyone had eaten. Without me. I checked the living room. Empty. No shoes by the front door. No coats on the hooks. My phone was dead, so I plugged it in and wandered into the garage. Only my truck sat there. Brett's SUV? Gone. Erica's hybrid? Gone. Mom's little blue car? Gone. I stood there for a long moment, the cold seeping in. I don't know what I expected. A note maybe. A be right back or went for a walk. But there was nothing. No text, no call. Just a full house that had emptied without a single word to me. At first I thought maybe I had the wrong time. Maybe they all left for church and forgot to wake me. But it was Christmas. We haven't done church on Christmas in over a decade. I checked my phone again. A couple calendar alerts. Nothing else. Not one message. I called Mom. She answered after 3 rings, sounding a little too cheerful. Hey, sweetie, everything okay? Where is everyone? A pause. Then, oh, I thought you were with Erica or Brett. I assumed you were in one of the cars. I waited. Nothing else came. You left without me, I said slowly. Oh, honey, I'm sure it was just a mix-up. I could hear road noise behind her. Laughing. Brett's voice. Maybe Erica's kids singing along to something in the background. You thought I was already in one of the other cars? Well, it all happened so fast. Everyone was in a rush and... She stopped talking. Maybe she realized I wasn't buying it. That was the moment it clicked. They didn't forget me. They left me. On purpose. I stood in the middle of my kitchen, phone still in my hand, dishes still in the sink. The same kitchen I'd remodeled last year. New cabinets, farmhouse sink, backsplash Mom picked out. This wasn't a mistake. They didn't forget me. They just didn't want me. I spent most of that morning pacing my house, waiting for someone, anyone, to text me, to explain it away. Big misunderstanding. Wrong group chat. Just miscommunication. But no messages came. Not from Erica, not from Brett, not even from Mom, who'd always claimed I was her steady one, and I guess that was true. I was steady. I was reliable. I was the guy who showed up, who fixed things, who made sure there were enough pillows in the rental cabin or remembered to bring extra batteries for the smoke alarms. Always the one behind the scenes, making sure things ran smoothly while everyone else posed in matching pajamas for Instagram. Growing up, being the middle child meant being invisible by default. Brett was the golden boy, youngest, charming, quarterback smile, good at turning any mistake into a funny story. Erica was the overachiever, oldest, valedictorian, got into Northwestern and never let anyone forget it. I was in between. No trophies, no drama, just the guy who carried the cooler. And when Dad's back went bad a few years ago, guess who stepped up? I did. Drove him to his appointments. Changed out the water heater when it failed. Mowed their yard every weekend for 3 summers straight. When Erica's husband traveled for work, who installed her security lights? Me. When Brett's car broke down in the middle of a snowstorm, who drove 3 hours out to help? Me again. Every single family trip for the past 12 years? I planned those. Booked the lodging, handled the logistics, made sure there were gluten-free options for Aunt Denise and a backup power bank for Erica's iPad. I even made playlists. I liked doing it. Or at least I thought I did. But this year was different. This year I'd gone big. 18 of us. 2 luxury cabins in Breckenridge. 7 nights. Fully loaded. Private chef for Christmas Eve dinner. A sledding day built in for the kids. Even pre-ordered groceries. Right down to the brand of mustard Mom liked and the oat milk Erica insisted on. It cost over $14,000, all charged to my card. Nobody else had the credit limit or the patience to front it. And I didn't complain. I never did. A few days before the trip, I texted the group thread, the holiday huddle, Erica called it. Said I'd picked up some new board games, printed the itinerary, laminated the copies. I didn't get a single thanks, just a thumbs-up emoji from Brett. That same night, I overheard something. I'd stopped by Mom and Dad's to drop off their trip packets. Erica was there already. I walked in through the garage, like I always did, and heard her talking in the kitchen. I paused before turning the corner when I heard my name. "He won't even notice if we just don't include him," she said, low but sharp. Mom didn't answer right away. Then, "Erica." "I'm serious," she said. "He does all the work, but it's not like he's fun to be around. I mean, are you going to miss Ray sitting on the couch reading weather reports and telling us when to leave for the airport?" They both laughed, quietly, but not quietly enough. I backed away from the doorway and left without dropping off the envelopes. That was a week ago, and I still convinced myself they'd come around, that they wouldn't actually exclude me, that after everything I'd done, they'd at least pretend to care. But they didn't. On Christmas morning, they packed up and left without me. No note, no text. No one even bothered to ask if I had the keys to the rental. I walked into my office, sat down at my computer, and opened the spreadsheet I'd made for the trip. The rows were color-coded. Everyone's name had a line item: ski passes, dinner reservations, special requests. I even had a column labeled Arrival Coordination. And there I was. Row 16, Ray. Every box checked, except the one that said Attending. I wasn't just the planner, I was the donkey, the background help, the invisible man. And now that I'd done the heavy lifting, they left me behind like a suitcase they didn't feel like carrying. I stared at the spreadsheet until the lines blurred. For the first time in my life, I wondered if they ever really wanted me there at all. I spent the next couple hours clicking through old texts, trying to find something, anything, that would explain this in a way that didn't feel so deliberate. But all I found were receipts. Digital breadcrumbs of my own humiliation. The old holiday huddle thread had gone quiet. Last message was from me, reminding everyone to pack gloves and motion sickness bands for the mountain drive. But there was no mention of when they were leaving. Nothing about pickup times, no shared excitement. I opened Instagram and regretted it immediately. Erica had posted a picture from the road. The whole back seat of Brett's SUV was filled with snacks and gift bags. Her caption read, "Family caravan, Christmas starts now." 17 likes already, one of them from Mom. Brett posted a video next, him singing Mariah Carey with his wife in the front seat and their twins in the back yelling, "Too loud." He zoomed in on the bag of licorice I'd bought. I'd even driven across town to get the exact kind his wife liked, and laughed, "Thanks, Santa Ray. Hope you packed your silence." Except I wasn't there, just the bag, like I was a sponsor, not a passenger. I clicked through Erica's story. There they were, piled into the kitchen of the cabin, drinking cocoa, laughing like this was just another perfect trip. No sign of me, no mention of me. Then I got a text. Erica. But it wasn't meant for me. It was a screenshot. A message from Brett, probably. Underneath it, her caption said, "He's really not here. Thank God. Now we can relax." And below that, just a single horrified "oh my God" from her when she realized she'd sent it to me. I didn't reply. I couldn't. I felt like someone had dumped ice water down my back. Not just because of what she said, but how casually she'd said it. Like this was a group project and the annoying team member finally bailed. I called my aunt, Dad's sister, Nancy. She'd been recovering from knee surgery and had stayed behind this year. If anyone would give me a straight answer, it was her. She picked up on the second ring. "Hey, Ray," she said gently, like she'd been expecting the call. "You heard?" A long pause. "Yeah." I sat down on the edge of my bed. "Was it on purpose?" She hesitated. "Nancy," she sighed. "They thought you wouldn't mind." "That's not what I asked." Another pause. Then, "They voted, Ray." "What?" "There's a new group chat. Without you, Erica made it." "Of course she did." "They decided it would be easier this year without—" She trailed off. "Without what?" "You?" she said softly. I stared at the carpet. It had a small thread sticking up near the corner. I couldn't seem to look away from it. "You've always done everything for them," Nancy continued. "And they know it. But that's the problem. They see you as useful, Not fun. Not someone they connect with. Just the guy who gets it done. And Mom? She voted yes. I felt something in my chest twist. Even Mom, I whispered. Nancy's voice cracked. I told them it was wrong. I told them it was going to come back around. But Erica said you wouldn't care, that you'd probably be relieved. Brett made a joke about how it'd be the first vacation without spreadsheets. I laughed. It wasn't a happy sound. It was sharp and bitter and hollow. You okay? Nancy asked. No. I wasn't. Because I wasn't just excluded. I was removed, muted. Written out like I was a problem that could be solved with one group vote and a new chat thread. A family coup, that's what it was. And I had funded it. I had handed them the keys, loaded the van, and waved goodbye. They took the trip and left me in the driveway. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there, stunned, scrolling through messages that hit harder than any punch I'd ever taken. I opened the shared cloud folder I kept for our family trips, the one everyone dumped photos and travel documents into. Erica used it all the time. She must have forgotten I still had access. Inside, she'd uploaded backups of her phone recently. I tapped through a few screenshots, probably stuff she meant to share with Brett or our mom. But she forgot one thing. I was still the admin, and what I saw made my skin go cold. There it was, a message thread with the subject line, "How to ditch Ray without him noticing." Erica had written, "Just let him pay for everything and go. He'll never cancel. He's too nice." Then Brett replied, "As long as the money's locked in, I say ghost him. It's not like he even drinks. He's just there for logistics anyway." Another message from Erica said, "Worst case scenario? He finds out and cancels. Big whoop, we'll still have the cabin. He never reads the fine print." Except I did. They didn't know that the refund policy gave me until the day before check-in to cancel with a full return, because I'd paid for the entire trip under a group organizer contract. They thought they were clever. But I was the one who booked everything. And as I sat there, reading line after line of them mocking me, Ray the family mule, he doesn't have a life, he just maintains ours, I realized they'd never planned to pay me back. Not for the trip, not for the groceries, not for anything. I kept digging. A chat between Erica and Mom from last month. "We'll just tell him we'll Venmo him later. You know how he is." Then this from Brett. "Honestly, he owes us. Mom and Dad sacrificed a lot for him growing up. About time he paid some of it back." That one nearly made me throw my phone across the room. What sacrifice? I was the one who gave them $5,000 last year to keep the house out of foreclosure. I was the one who quietly covered their property tax when Dad's disability check ran short. I even paid for Brett's daughter's dental surgery when they forgot to apply for insurance. I pulled up my banking app. $14,216. Cabin rental, equipment rentals, Christmas Eve dinner, snow tires for Mom's car. I'd fronted all of it. And now, the people I called family were celebrating with drinks in a luxury lodge while I sat alone in the house I let my parents live in, rent-free, while they gossiped in group chats about how I had no personality. A slow, unfamiliar feeling started bubbling up inside me. Not sadness, not confusion, rage, real, rooted, pulsing rage. I remembered something Dad said the night I gave them that loan for the house. "Ray, you've always been the rock." Yeah, I'd been the rock. And they'd built the entire family structure on top of me, stomping down with every birthday, every holiday, every guilt trip until I couldn't even breathe. They thought I wouldn't do anything. They thought I'd just take it. And for years they were right. But not this time. I opened my laptop and pulled up the travel booking portal. My name was still listed as the sole organizer. One click. Cancel reservation? Yes, are you sure? Oh, I was sure. They took my money. They ran. But they forgot one thing. I kept the receipts, and I was done being the mule. I didn't wait. I didn't sleep on it. I didn't call a friend to ask if I was overreacting. I opened the resort confirmation email, clicked the customer service link, and typed out a message I never imagined writing. "Hello, this is Ray Hansen. I booked 2 luxury cabins for December 25th, January 1st. Reservation number #C45871. I need to cancel the entire booking immediately and request a refund under the group organizer clause." The chat agent responded within minutes, probably sensing the urgency in my message. I explained the situation simply. family betrayal, financial exploitation, and the fact that I was the only one on the contract. I didn't need to embellish. The paper trail spoke for itself. Within an hour, everything was canceled. Both cabins, gone. Private chef, canceled. Sled rental, snowmobile deposit, catered New Year's Eve dinner, all wiped from the itinerary. The refund confirmation hit my inbox like a shot of espresso. Full amount. Thanks to the travel protection I had insisted on, even though everyone rolled their eyes about it, every dollar was coming back to me. I stared at the screen for a moment, then closed the laptop. Let them toast cocoa and take selfies tonight. Tomorrow they'd be homeless at 9,000 feet with no reservations and no clue what had happened. But I wasn't done. I booked a one-way ticket to Thailand, something I'd been talking about for years but never had time for. Chiang Mai. Mountains. Quiet. The kind of quiet I got to choose, not the kind dumped on me like this morning. Then I made one more call. The locksmith came by at 4 p.m., right after I cleared the living room. Mom and Dad had been living in my house for 6 years, rent-free. They called it temporary, but somehow their stuff kept multiplying. No more. I had the garage packed with their boxes by nightfall. Every throw pillow, every decorative spoon from Branson, every pair of orthopedic sandals. The locksmith changed all the locks. New keys, new deadbolts. He looked at me as he handed over the spares. Rough Christmas? I didn't answer, just gave him a $20 tip and nodded. By 8 o'clock, the house was clean, mine again. I moved my own stuff back into the master bedroom. For years I'd let them have it. Told myself I didn't care. I slept in the smaller room, the one with the slanted ceiling and no closet. Told myself I was being generous. Told myself family came first. Not anymore. I lit a candle, played a little Springsteen, sat on the bed I bought and never slept in. It felt like breaking in a pair of boots I forgot I owned. That night, I wrote a letter, printed copies, folded them neatly. To my family. I planned this trip. I paid for it. I fronted the cost not because I had to, but because I thought we were a family, the kind that showed up, chipped in, and respected one another. You showed me something different. You excluded me. You lied. You used me. I canceled the cabins, the dinners, the sledding day. Everything I paid for is gone. If you're cold and stranded, now you understand what being left behind feels like. I've changed the locks. My house is no longer open to those who treat me like an employee, a joke, or an afterthought. If you want to discuss this, it'll be in writing. Ray. I taped the letter to the inside of the garage. They'd see it when they came home, if they still thought it was home. I poured myself a bourbon, sat on the front porch, and let the Iowa cold bite at my face. I wasn't lonely. I wasn't afraid. I was free. Tomorrow, the fallout would begin. But tonight they'd toast to the best trip ever, completely unaware that it had already ended. By the time the sun crested over the Colorado mountains on December 26th, my phone lit up like a slot machine, 17 missed calls, then 23. By mid-morning, the number had climbed past 40. They'd found out. The first voicemail was from Erica. Ray, what the hell? We just got to the front desk and they're saying we have no reservation, no rooms, no nothing. The kids are freezing. You need to call me, right, now. Then Brett. Dude, are you kidding? Where are we supposed to sleep? We're out in the parking lot like a bunch of idiots. This isn't funny. Then Mom. Oh, Ray, this is not how family acts. We're stranded. It's Christmas. You've got to fix this. I didn't reply to any of them. I made coffee, toasted a bagel, sat on my newly reclaimed couch, and watched the snow fall from the front window. My phone vibrated against the kitchen counter like it was having a seizure. More voicemails, more messages. Erica again, angrier this time. You canceled the whole trip? Seriously? Do you even realize what you've done? We had plans. The kids were so excited. We drove 12 hours. Then, a text. Erica, you better fix this. Then, Erica, if you think this is going to make us feel sorry for you, it's not. Then Mom again, switching to guilt mode. Mom, we didn't mean to hurt you. We just thought it would be easier this year. Easier. Leaving me behind on Christmas was easier. I finished my coffee and pulled up the home security app. The motion alert at the garage had just gone off. The camera footage loaded in seconds. There they were. All of them standing in the driveway in full winter gear, looking confused and tired. Brett tried the front door first. Locked. Erica knocked. Mom rang the bell twice, then cupped her hands against the window like I might be napping on the floor in front of it. Then Brett walked around to the garage side door, the one I knew they'd try. It opened. Right on cue, they found the letter I had taped to the inside. I watched on the security feed as Brett stepped in, saw the boxes of their things lined up neatly along the garage wall, then called over his shoulder. Guys, you're gonna want to see this." They all shuffled inside. Mom read the letter first. I saw her lips move as she followed the lines. Her face collapsed halfway through, not in tears, but in recognition. She folded it back up like it burned her hands. Erica read it next, jaw clenched so tight I thought her teeth might crack. Then she crumpled it. I watched Brett try to smooth it back out. Typical. They stayed in the garage a long time. No one tried the front door again. An hour later, Brett called. I didn't answer, but I listened to the voicemail. "Okay, so we messed up, we get it. You made your point. But can we be grown-ups now? The kids are crying. Grandma's freezing. Let's just talk, man." Then Erica texted, "You're being spiteful. This isn't what family does." Then, minutes later, "You seriously printed a letter? Who does that?" I chuckled. But the one that stuck with me came later that evening. A text from someone I didn't expect. Erica's fiancé, Jason. "Hey, Ray, I read the letter. I had no idea how much you've done for this family. I'm honestly disgusted by what I've heard. If you need help moving anything or just want someone to talk to, I'm around." I stared at it for a while. A crack in their perfect facade. Even he saw it. He saw what I'd put up with, what they refused to acknowledge. That night, the group scattered. Mom and Dad went to a cheap roadside motel. I saw the receipt hit my email by mistake. They were still using the shared family travel folder. Brett's family tried to drive back home that same night, judging by the photos Erica angrily uploaded to her story. Blurry shots of highway snow and half-empty vending machines. They all blamed me, of course, but for the first time in my life, I didn't feel the need to explain myself. Let them squirm. Let them feel the cold. They'd spent years building a world where I was useful but disposable. And now, they were finding out what life looked like when the mule dropped the load and walked away. I watched the security feed one more time before bed. Empty garage, snow drifting in through the gap under the door, silence. And it felt good. Thailand was everything I needed it to be. Sunrises over quiet hills, streets lined with food stalls, and people who didn't expect anything from me. I wandered temples barefoot, sat through monsoon rains with a bowl of mango sticky rice, and, for once, felt like a man who existed for himself, not as a tool for everyone else's comfort. By the time I landed back in Iowa 2 weeks later, the air was sharp with January frost. The house was still quiet. No cars in the driveway, no extra coats on the hooks. I stood in the front hallway and took it all in, my furniture arranged the way I liked it. No clumps of shoes by the door, no smells of burned coffee or Mom's vanilla-scented plug-ins, just clean, still air. I dropped my bags, changed into sweats, and ordered Thai takeout, because I could. But I didn't stay quiet for long. That weekend, I called the family over for a meeting. Everyone was suspicious, understandably. Mom tried to beg off, said she wasn't feeling well. Erica said she had a thing. Brett just asked, "Is this going to be awkward?" I said yes. Still, they came. Curiosity always beats pride in this family. They sat around my kitchen table like guests at a job interview. Even Dad was there, arms crossed, back stiff, eyes darting to Mom like he was waiting for permission to speak. I started simply. "This house is mine, always has been. You've all lived here rent-free. That ends now." Mom's mouth opened, but I held up a hand. "You don't have to agree. You just have to hear me." I slid a stack of papers across the table. Lease agreements, itemized bills, payment schedules. "If you want to stay here," I said, looking directly at them, "you pay rent, market rate, utilities split evenly, and all outstanding debts from the past 5 years are being collected." Erica scoffed. "This is ridiculous." I didn't flinch. "You owe me over $4,000 for trip reimbursements and $300 from the time I covered your insurance premium." "That was a gift," she said. "No," I said. "It was silent generosity. But silence ends today." Dad's eyes narrowed. "We raised you." "You tolerated me," I said calmly. You leaned on me. But you didn't raise me. Not once I turned 15 and started fixing the furnace myself. He bristled. You think this is what family is? Contracts and threats? I think family starts with respect. And if that means drawing up contracts, then yeah, that's where we begin. Erica rolled her eyes. You're bitter. I looked her dead in the face. No, I'm done being bitter. I'm building something better. She laughed. And what? You think making us sign leases makes you strong? I didn't answer. Instead, I reached over and hit play on my phone. It was audio, a backup of their secret group chat, from the shared cloud folder they forgot I could access. Erica's voice came through the speaker, clear and sharp. If we just don't include him, we can actually relax this year. Then Brett. He'll never notice. He's too busy packing granola bars and checking tire pressure. Then Mom. Let's not make this a debate. Just leave him out quietly. He's always been a little off. The room fell silent. No one moved. Erica's fiancé, Jason, who had come with her, probably as a buffer, looked sick. He stood up. I had no idea, he said quietly. I thought you guys just forgot to include him. He turned to Erica. You said he chose not to come. Erica tried to speak, but nothing came out. He looked at me. I'm sorry, man, this is messed up. And then he left, just like that. I watched her crumble in slow motion. Brett, to his credit, was the first to break the silence. He cleared his throat. I've been an ass, he said. I know that. I looked at him. So? He sighed. So, what's the rent? I slid a paper toward him. He picked it up, read it, nodded. Okay, he said. I'll move into the basement, if that's cool. Roommate rules apply, I said. Chores rotate. Trash goes out on Wednesdays. For real? He asked. For real. He offered a hand. I shook it. Mom stood slowly. Her voice was tight, like she was trying not to cry. We can't pay rent, Ray. Then you can't live here. She blinked. Dad stood too. You're really kicking your own parents out. I looked at them. Really looked. And for the first time, I didn't see Mom and Dad. I saw two adults who'd made 100 small choices to lean on me until I broke. I'm not kicking you out, I said. I'm ending the free ride. They left that night, in silence. They didn't hug me, didn't say goodbye, just walked out and shut the door behind them. Erica left too, eyes blank, jaw clenched, no Jason by her side. Brett stayed. He helped me move the futon down to the basement and asked if I had rules about fridge space. That night we had pizza and watched a dumb action movie. He didn't say much, just sat there, quiet, present. And maybe for the first time in years I felt something shift. Respect isn't owed, it's earned. And I wasn't asking for it anymore. I was requiring it. It had been almost 3 months since I changed the locks and flipped the script. In that time I didn't get softer. I didn't cave. I got stronger. I started therapy. Found a guy named Carl through my company's insurance. Ex-military, no nonsense, doesn't believe in childhood wounds as personality traits. First session, I told him everything. The trip, the exclusion, the years of being the family mule. He didn't blink, just said, sounds like you finally hit your threshold. Good. Now let's figure out how to rebuild. And rebuild I did. I joined a hiking group out of Cedar Rapids. Bunch of regular folks in their 40s and 50s. Not the Lululemon selfie crowd. We did Saturday morning trails and cracked jokes about sore knees. One of the guys, Dennis, invited me to a poker night. I went, and I kept going. Eventually, it became a weekly thing. Fridays at Dennis's place. Buy-in was $20, potluck rules. No one asked what I did for work. No one asked about my family. We just played cards, told dumb stories, and passed the chips. It felt normal. And I hadn't realized how badly I needed normal. I rented out one of the upstairs rooms to a traveling nurse named Layla. Early 30s, worked 3-day hospital shifts, then disappeared for the rest of the week. Paid rent on time, kept to herself. She put a basil plant on the windowsill and made the whole place smell like fresh herbs. One night she knocked on my door and handed me a plate of lemon bars without saying a word. I stared at them like they were radioactive. What's this for? I asked. She shrugged. You looked like you needed a win today. She was right, I did. We weren't friends exactly, but it was nice. The house wasn't a dumping ground anymore. It was a home, mine. I took a solo trip to Michigan in April. Just me, a cabin, a stack of books, and a fishing pole. No group chats, no laminated itineraries, no one complaining about gluten, and I started doing something I never thought I'd do, saying no. Brett offered to help with yard work once. I said sure, but only if he cleaned up after himself. He did. Erica emailed a couple months later, the first message from her since the fallout. Hey, if you're open to it, I'd like to talk. Just talk. I don't expect anything. I know I messed up. I stared at that message for a long time. Then I replied, neutral ground. 1 hour. My terms. We met at a little cafe downtown. She was 15 minutes early, sitting there with a coffee she didn't touch. When I walked in, she stood up too fast, like she thought I might turn around and walk out. I didn't know how bad it was, she said after we sat down. I didn't reply. I was jealous, she admitted. You're just steady, reliable. I hated how you made it look easy. I resented that. I raised an eyebrow. You resented that I made your life easier? She swallowed. Yeah. She didn't cry. Didn't ask me to fix anything. She just sat there and owned it. I wanted to be seen as the one who had it together, she said quietly. But deep down, I knew it wasn't true. You were the one who held everything up. We just never said it out loud because we liked having you as the safety net. There was a long pause, then she added, You don't owe me anything. I just needed to say that. I nodded. That was enough. We didn't hug. We didn't talk about Christmas or the canceled trip. We just sat in silence for a bit. And when we left, we didn't promise to keep in touch. But something had shifted. Back at home, I made a list on a sticky note. What does life look like when no one's on my back? I wrote. Hiking on Saturdays, poker on Fridays, quiet mornings, cooking for 1 lemon bars, paid rent, no guilt. It wasn't much, but it was mine. For the first time, I wasn't waiting for their permission to be happy. I wasn't trying to be let in. I had built my own damn door, and whoever knocked next, they'd have to prove they deserved a key. Snow was falling in light, lazy flurries as I pulled the ham from the oven. The smell of cloves and brown sugar filled the kitchen. The house was warm, not just from the heat, but from something deeper. It didn't feel like a stage anymore. It felt like mine. Christmas dinner looked different this year. 6 guests, not 18. No printed itineraries, no spreadsheets, no whispers behind closed doors. Just a small table set with mismatched chairs, a couple bottles of wine, and people who showed up because they wanted to, not because they expected to be fed for free. Brett was the first to arrive. He brought dinner rolls and a 6-pack, wore an ugly sweater with a light-up snowman, and immediately started telling a story about his boss falling off a ladder at the office holiday party. It wasn't funny, but we laughed anyway. Mom came in slowly, holding a tin of her famous sugar cookies, her face softer than I remembered. She'd moved into a small condo a few months back. She wasn't thrilled about it, but she didn't fight me anymore. Dad followed, quieter than usual. He handed me a paper bag with a bottle of bourbon and a nod that said, I'm trying, even if I don't know how. Erica came too, alone. She'd split with Jason in the spring. She didn't say much, but she helped me set the table and didn't complain once about the chairs not matching. That felt like progress. Nancy, my aunt, was last. She brought her famous green bean casserole and hugged me a little longer than necessary. I poured drinks, we clinked glasses, and then for the first time in my life, Dad gave a toast. He stood up, cleared his throat, and held his glass steady. To Ray, he said, who taught us all how to stand tall and when to stand down. The room went still for a moment. Then they all raised their glasses. To Ray. I didn't know what to say, so I just nodded and took a sip. There weren't mountains of gifts this year. No forced smiles, no Christmas card photos, just laughter, warmth, and second helpings of mashed potatoes. And under the tree, tucked in the corner like an afterthought, was a small box with my name on it. Inside was a check, fully signed. The amount? $14,216, the exact cost of last year's cabin trip, plus interest. The note inside said, We didn't deserve your patience, but we're trying to earn your respect. Thank you for setting the bar. I folded it carefully and put it in my jacket pocket. I didn't say anything. I didn't have to. After dinner, Brett helped with dishes. Erica poured more wine. Mom sat with Nancy on the couch, flipping through an old photo album I hadn't seen in years. No one shouted. No one fought over Wi-Fi or thermostat settings. I looked around and realized something I never thought I'd feel again. Peace. Real, earned, lived-in peace. Not because things were perfect, but because I wasn't pretending anymore. I wasn't the background character in someone else's production. I wasn't the bank or the chauffeur or the fixer. I was the host, the man of the house. And the people sitting at that table? They were there because they'd earned their seat, not because they'd inherited it. As the snow piled softly outside and the fire crackled in the corner, I sat back in my chair and let myself breathe. The house that used to feel like a prison now felt like a home. Smaller, quieter, stronger, just like me.
YouTube picked this for you. Tap it. Let's see if they guessed right.